Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the conversation. This afternoon, we have a fine brother on the phone with us. We're back again, obviously, talking about national issues. Like I always inform you, this is just simply another platform where we invite young, prominent, and very well-experienced Gambians to come and, speak with us. We want to understand what the Gambian has come to expect of their leaders. Our aim is to obviously speak to one another as a nation, speak to our opposition candidates, and maybe even our stubborn government to see the way forward. Like I said, this afternoon, all the way from Sweden, I do have Brother Nyancho on the phone. Brother Nyancho, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krubally. Thank you. It's a pleasure having me on your show or program.
Thank you. Thank you. And, thanks for accepting the invite. I know we tried to schedule there one time and, things happen. We're all pretty busy people. So thanks for the time. I promise we're not going to keep you too long. We just wanted to bring you here. You have been an active and leading voice in the fight against the dictatorship in the Gambia. I think history will reveal itself that you definitely have done your part, and that is why we have invited you here today. We want to have a one-on-one conversation with you, really get to understand your positions. I know you're a very, very passionate individual, and you have some very strong feelings about certain issues. But before we go any further, like I always do, Brother Nyancho, I know a lot of people know you in this struggle, but needless, please take a quick moment to introduce yourself to that person that have not met or heard of Brother Nyancho.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Krubally. There is not much about me. However, I will tell you that my name is Gambian Sanneh, and I'm born in the countryside in what is known as Sanneh district. We call it at the time called McCarthy Island Division, but I understand now it's called the Upper River Region or the Central River Region. All right, Central River Region. I went to school in my home village, Nyanidobo, and after I went to the Gambia High School. And in the 80s, up to Form 5, I was educated at the Gambia High School, Form 1Z to Form 5Z. Yeah, I do have classmates, I believe, who are listening sometimes, or reading, really, what I have been writing. I left the Gambia at a very early age. I left right after my O-levels, a year after, actually. So basically by age 20 or 1920, I left the Gambia. My life in the Gambia simply is that school, and then I left the country. And abroad, I got involved, Mr. Krubally, in many different things. I was sometime in Libya. I traveled on what we call today as the back way to Libya. And after some time in Libya, I left. I came to Scandinavia. In the early 90s, I went back to school here in Finland. I went to high school. I graduated, and then to the University of Engineering in Vasa, which is on the west coast of Finland, close to Sweden, just a river or a sea between us, the Bothnian Sea. Yeah, I came there to Sweden in 2000, really, after living 10 years in Finland. I moved to Sweden to year 2000 and then went back to university to study for a master's program in management and economics. It's interesting, long, boring. But anyway, I came to Stockholm 2005. I started teaching mathematics and physics in different levels. And that's what I have been doing until when I left for Senegal and came back 2 months ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that in-depth, introduction of yourself. Obviously, I like to do this, like I always mention, just for people to really have a clear understanding of, some of the people that are involved in this struggle, to understand that we're just not a bunch of angry mobs, just, running around and angry at Yahya Jammeh, but more, we're very responsible people that are obviously contributing in the societies and communities that we live in the diaspora here.
Right.
With that said, Brother Nyancho, if you don't mind me calling you Brother Nyancho, is that okay?
Yeah, it's all right. Nyancho is my name. I mean, people call me Nyancho because of my family name, Sanneh. You can call me Nyancho.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, obviously, I think a lot of people that are in this struggle and that know of you know that you're a member of the GCC. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about, without taking a lot of time, just what is the GCC about? Are you all active, and what are you contributing towards this fight against the dictatorship?
Right. I'm glad that you asked me that question. You see, I always believe, Mr. Krubally, that to make change or to make a difference in life, it is always good to associate with people who have a similar mind. And so I have always been active in politics. Politics has always interested me. I joined the Social Democratic Party of Finland when I was 21 years. This was around 1990-91. And then I played part in understanding how democracy works by associating with people whose life depend on politics and political activities. And so, yes, what happened is the GCC is part of the Gambians' concern, but living abroad or in the diaspora. We felt at some point that it was necessary that Gambian people organize themselves under an umbrella organization that will be representative of all the diasporans. And we reach out to people, like-minded people, I'm glad that during this crusade, I met intellectuals, intelligent minds like Matthew Jallo, who is very instrumental in the creation and the brain, really, behind the formation of the GCC. And the GCC also incorporated like minds, like a very, very well-known advocate, lawyer Hassan Martin. And we also have wonderful people in the name of Saliu Njai, Basiru Sawane, Tuku Jallo. We have people that we believe that we could work together with other organizations. From each organization, we choose certain individual, one or two, to meet together and form this umbrella organization that would be a representative of the diaspora. We tried. I traveled to Dakar in 2013 to meet the chairman, Dr. Sidat Job, who has been very, very instrumental in making sure that the diaspora is united so as to work differently, but at the same time coordinate their activities with the political opposition parties on the ground. I wouldn't say we failed. I said that failure is not a question when it comes to liberation struggle. There are setbacks, there are certain things that needs to be reversed or to be done in another way. And so we learn as we go further. Yes, the GCC's aim was to form an umbrella organization, certainly, to put it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. The reason I asked that is because obviously, some of the criticisms that we have faced in the diaspora is the amount of organizations that we do have. I'm a true believer that all of these organizations are formed for a reason, and that is the reason. They were formed for a reason, and I think it's because of these small organizations that we are where we are today, because everybody has somehow contributed towards the fight, although, at times it looks like a very, very, very negative thing to have a whole bunch of organizations out there. Now, you mentioned that you went to visit your chairman in Dakar. And whilst you were in Dakar, obviously, we spoke, you were able to meet some Gambians over there. Brother Nyancho, I want you to take your time and, tell us about that trip, what you attained over there. And after that, I also want to talk to you about some of the dissidents in Dakar there. What was the purpose of your trip, and what did you accomplish on that trip?
Well, the purpose of the trip was a follow-up to what took place in 2013. I always believe that we Gambians are very good at coming with agendas, initiatives, and proposals. And then we would just put these things on a piece of paper and forget them and never return back to revisit these agreements. When I went to Senegal this time, it was basically to meet Dr. Sidat Job again. Doctor is a mentor to me personally. I know this man. I learned from him. So what happened was I went there to talk to him on behalf of the GCC as to actually what my proposals to Doctor was, what can we do now as an organization? Where are we as an organization, and how far have we gone towards achieving our goals set for? And the honest truth was Doctor has always been defiant. And he said that we have not made much progress in making other organizations to join us into forming this formidable structure that would be representative of the Gambian people in the diaspora. However, he encouraged that we must continue to consolidate ourselves, to be focused, to be out there, to reach out to other people and never give up the fight. And that he is embarking on his diplomatic coordination with the Senegalese authorities, telling them in details. As you all know, Matthew is cataloging the names of the disappeared, and the list is growing. So this list that keeps on growing and becoming more and more victims listed in. Doctor is continuously informing his Senegalese partners as to the events as they unfold in the Republic of the Gambia. And so we keep close contact. We talk quite often, twice a month or twice a week or so. It depends what is the situation at that particular time. So the idea was to reach out, really, and that reach out was not only to the diaspora, but also to reach out to the political opposition. And I reached out to the UDP, which I am affiliated to as a militant. So I reached out to other political people as well, needless to say. But we never agreed on any concrete strategic formula as to how we, the GCC, could be working together with them.
Good. Thank you so much for that. Now, when you went to Dakar, I'm sure that you met a lot of Gambians over there. Of recent, we've seen a very successful demonstration over in Dakar, which is very close to home. It probably sent the strongest message, because if anybody can make a difference in this fight, it's our brothers and sisters in Senegal. And with the border closure, this heavy demonstration that obviously have caught Jammeh's attention. But I have got reports, and I know this is very uncomfortable, but I think it is something that we need to talk about so that our people can be aware that some of our brothers and sisters living in Dakar are not living in the best conditions.
Right.
Like I said, this is very, very sensitive. But can you just talk to us about that? What did you see there? How are people living there? Just to bring some attention to that.
I talked about this on my arrival here on certain media. I would repeat the same. You know, Mr. Krubally, when I went to Dakar, I didn't go to Dakar to live whatever. I live with the common people. I live with the people who are living in Dakar. And because of some problems I encountered, my internet my Facebook was blocked, my account and everything was blocked. That was kind of a blessing for me because I ran out of money within 2 weeks. I started to understand the real live situation of our people living in Dakar. And I quite frankly, I sympathize with these people. I slept with people who left their education. I slept in their homes. They left their university education in the Gambia. I met journalists who are very professional. They could be very, 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 very efficient in dissemination of information in our country to the common people in the local languages and as well as in English. And these people all left the country. They are living in Senegal. And it was hard. I must admit that they need our support. I said that before. Okay, they need us to be there, to understand. For at least I have always been saying this, that if we want to make change, and like the GCC has been saying this as well, that's why we have our headquarters in Dakar and have Dr. Job to oversee our things, that Senegal is very crucial in bringing any form of change in Gambia, based on our proximity to the Senegalese people, on our traditions, and our geographic proximity, borders, people the same, the economy, and all these things. So I always believe that to make anything tangible, physically tangible, positively happening in the Gambia has to be associated with the Senegalese brothers and sisters. And Mr. Krubally, evidently, this demonstration that they mounted recently is a glaring display of the fact that their influence on our people, on our culture, on our politicians could make a lot of differences.
Thank you. But then whilst you were there too, and you saw the way some of our people lived, and I understand the way some of our people live there is not the most comfortable way of living. I understand that they definitely, and I know the Gambian is very sensitive in really, talking about someone else's state. But the reports I'm getting over there is that the brothers and sisters underground there, especially the brothers, they do need help and support because
they do.
Can you touch on that just to the average person to understand the struggles that they're going through over there, given that they've left everything behind? There are obviously refugees in Senegal, which is also not the wealthiest country, and although Senegal is doing their best, but they're struggling. They need help.
Let's put it this way. For example, cost of traveling in Dakar alone is very expensive, Mr. Krubally. Living is very expensive. What I mean living, I'm talking now of the renting, to pay rent. A person who has no job, no monthly salary guaranteed, and is living in fear, that means his exposure would be limited. He is afraid to be in certain places at certain times to look for jobs. And even if he has to go to a place to find a job in that place or to look for a job in that place, he has to be moving. And that cost of moving from one location to another location, it's very expensive. Food is very expensive in Dakar. And I'm telling you that at least maybe the journalists who have international contacts could maybe get little help here and there from other people abroad. But I am talking about that other Gambian who was only a soldier or a police officer in the Gambia and having no other means of earning an income through decent professional job or professionalism. These people are having it very hard. And what they do often, some I saw they are into construction. Construction, you work between 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening for less than $50. And I am saying that those are lucky ones. There are people, basically, their life is miserable. Miserable because they don't know what to do. People are confused, and people are crammed together in small apartments just to be able to save some money to buy food and have a place or a roof over their heads. So this is, Yahya Jammeh government in that country brought disaster in the country and outside of the country. And this is the tragedy that we are all witnessing for the past 22 years. And I said that something needs to be done, and to be done as soon as possible. Our people are living in very, very difficult situations and circumstances, and they are helpless and basically in need of things that were just taken for granted some years ago for a Gambian.
Thank you so much for that, and I really hope that anyone that listens to this that knows a Gambian living in Senegal somehow, I know that we all have responsibilities, we all have bills to pay, but if you know anyone in Senegal that you can extend a helping hand to, it's very important. Be it $20, $50, it goes a long way.
I would like to add that there are children there that I took responsibility to pay their school. And I am asking for help from any Gambian person who wants to assist in that. They are Gambian children, the father's dead. Yahya Jammeh government accused of being involved in some of these children's parents' disappearance, and I have a couple of them there. If somebody want to help them, you could do that. I am telling you that this is what I can do as an individual. But the Gambian situation is tragic, and I believe why I joined the GCC was to have a strategic plan within the diaspora so as to see where to put some little help at what time and when, and organized. But the lack of organization in the country and lack of organization outside of the country is really responsible for this very dire condition.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that, Brother Nyancho. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're listening to the conversation. This is Momodou Krubally speaking with Keba Sanneh, Brother Nyancho of Sweden. Obviously, we've gotten to really meet Brother Nyancho, talked about, these organizations that he's a part of, the GCC, and the state of some of our brothers and sisters in Dakar. Obviously, the successful demonstration that we saw over there. Dakar is becoming, I believe, the base and maybe the final push to end this dictatorship. And Brother Nyancho, obviously you were in Dakar, you understood the economic impact that Senegambia relationship is all about. Recently, the border closure is obviously in effect right now, which is putting a lot of constraint on the economy in that region. But more important, I think it is helping the struggle and pushing the dictatorship out slowly, because obviously the closest allies that he has, he's not in good terms with them. Can you just tell us, do you know anything about this border closure? To the average person who doesn't understand that the borders are closed, what is going on over there? When you say the borders are closed, what do you understand as someone who was on the ground and a little bit more, understanding of the whole political dynamics in the region?
When we say, my understanding is when we're talking of the border closure, we're talking about the stoppage to the economic flow of goods and services. Because the human beings are moving. The people of Gambia and Senegal are going to each other, right? In fact, whether the borders are closed or not closed, I think it's not very important in certain border areas in the Gambia. For I have traveled throughout the length of that country, at least on the northern side. Now, that border is porous. People are going in and out, doing their things, in and out. What is happening is the movement of goods and services from one state to the other, because governments or businesses depend on each other on both sides of the border. And so the impact is most often directly impacting the business people. And when you look at the business people in that country, it's one person. That businessman is Yaya Jammeh, and Yaya Jammeh owns the business. And obviously this is hurting him directly. But then indirectly, the common people who are also into small-scale businesses are forfeiting, losing to this border closure. But Yaya Jammeh, being the man that he is, he doesn't care about the impact of this border closure, the economic impact that is going to have on the Gambian ordinary citizen. We can also say that this border closure has a diplomatic connotation attached to it. When you have borders closed between two countries, it shows the severity or the lack of mutual communication between the leaderships, or I would say the leadership or the administrative part of that governments are not in close communication. And that is not good for a country like the Gambia. When you are surrounded on three sides by one country, open only to the Atlantic Ocean, you cannot imagine closing those borders for 2 months and expect that not to have a very negative economic impact on your country. It is a very bad idea, or it is not an idea. It is a very bad move, an action by a very erratic, very irrational leader who thinks that by acting on emotions, by acting on feelings, he could do whatever he wants to do, regardless of the consequences that might follow.
Yeah. Thank you so much. The reason I ask this question is because I don't really think our people comprehend. I think sometimes all we hear is that the border is closed, that trucks are not going through, people are going through, and I'm looking for that person that can really come in here, hopefully one of these days, somebody like Frederick or, even some of our Gambian intellectuals that can really give us, because I think the average Gambian needs to understand the importance of these borders that we cross on a daily basis, the history of it, and how it impacts and the entire economy and our individual lives and the whole security of that Senegambian region is very critical. And that's where I'm getting to it.
Our losses are visible. Our losses are visible. I mean, how much were we making daily on crossing from Bara to Banjul by Senegalese truckers and Senegalese business people? Farafenni, we're losing big time. And other crossing points along the Gambian River. The rumors that the ordinary people will take their goats and sheep and other farm animals and sell them there, farm produce like coos, millet, and maize, peanuts, and all these things were exchanged, battered along and around these lumos, which are often very close to the border towns, border areas. I mean, the ordinary Gambian is dying under the weight of this negative economic impact that is brought to that nation by this very, very callous and reckless regime. The ordinary person is dying. The ordinary person cannot access. I met people in Dakar who were coming to buy their pharmaceutical medicine, whatever, from Dakar to the Gambia to sell them there. Meaning now, these people will not be able to. So how many people will be queuing in those pharmacies looking for this very urgent, vital medical treatment or medicine, the tablets or whatever, injections and bandages that they might have wanted or needed, but they are not available because they cannot be transported as commercial goods across one country to the other. Now, we're talking about the electricity is going down because there is not this fuel that we used to buy from Senegal in order for the generators to function and supply the nation and the capital city, the business hub of the country with electricity supply. This is a disaster. And that is why I think it is very, very, very important for us to be united behind the events that are taking place in that country today. Speak with one voice to make sure that we no longer demand reforms, but we demand the total vacation of this place by this regime. We need to go. I don't want people to even negotiate anything with these people. They're destroying the people. Can you imagine? They closed these borders simply because one man decided that he could increase the tariff at a level that is not acceptable and no prior consultations with the other partners. This is a disrespect. This is not how neighbors are supposed to treat one another. And so I think it is high time to make an end to this regime, and I believe that the Gambian people would necessarily have to do what they have been running away from for so many years, and that is to confront this bully and to tell him that he is not legitimate, that his time is up, that we can no longer be with him in that country at the same time, and that we are ready to sacrifice whatever it is to make sure that he is gone and gone out of that country.
Thank you so much, Brother Nyancho. I really like the fact that you just dragged me into the next segment of what I wanted to talk about, and that is the issues on the ground. You just mentioned that there's one man in that country who can single-handedly and has been single-handedly running the nation. Right now, as we speak, this guy has in his custody illegally detaining the main opposition leader in the name of Hussein Dabo and his executive members. He has killed a youth leader in that country. Women are missing. Thousands of our brothers and sisters are still illegally held. Talk to me about why is this guy able to just single-handedly run our lives for 21 years and 1.8 million people cannot do anything about it or have not done anything about it? Help me understand, and the average listener understand, how he's able to do this.
There are many variables attached to this equation. And so to find a solution to this equation is that dictators thrive and survive on divide and rule policies, well, tricks, if you wish. And so Yahya Jammeh, visibly, he is one person destroying the country. But let's not forget the fact that in every part of the world you have kingmakers. These are people who are in the shadows, in the darkness, and pulling the strings and doing the dirty work and the planning and the execution of those plans for the dictatorship. And so the Gambia is not an exception to this. And so I want to say that it is tragic, but it is a tragedy of our own making, okay? One problem also includes in these variables is the fact that the Gambian person is not educated. And to communicate, you need to have a common language that will be there to serve both partners or parties. And so lack of education also contributes to what is happening in our country. The Gambian person today is not very interested in an educated person or education as a matter of fact. We become oriented towards materialism, and that means make as much money as possible, you will get whatever you want in this world. And therefore, those who are educated are taking advantage of the uneducated Gambian and sacrificing him for his own good or for his own selfish and egoistic goals and aims. And I'm not blaming the village man there whose only purpose is to go out to his farm and, harvest and sell his produce and come back to his family. I am disgusted with the attitude of the academic, the educated Gambian, you see. And I am not surprised that I am hated by some of my critics who would send me some cautionary, they call it, statements or messages. I am disgusted and I'm angry because look at the fact of life here is. Yahya Jammeh is an ignorant individual. He knew nothing about governance and government when he came in 1994. But they schooled him. Who schooled him? Those people, those bureaucrats, technocrats who were serving the former regime or who were abroad and tired of the hustling and the bustling of these big cities in Europe and the United States. They get tired and they run home and become traitors, helping a dictator to destroy the uneducated, the farmers, robbing them of their land. Everywhere you go in that country, he owns a place there. So who gives him that place? No one gives him that place. Some corrupted individuals, educated, linked to the government, coming from these rural areas, will invite the president and bring him to their people and steal the land of the common people and give it to this very useless person who knows nothing about farming or what the farmer does. Now, this is what I call complacency on the side of the Gambian and holding the whole nation contempt and disregarding the interest, the aspiration and the wish of the Gambian people and mischievously lying to the Gambian people, maintaining and entrenching their positions simply because they want to live a better life. The educated is helping Yahya Jammeh destroy our country.
Well, Nyancho, everything else you're saying here right now is exposing the fact that we're being oppressed on, and they're stealing our resources, and people are helping him.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Why is it taking so long for the people that they're stealing from, the people that they're oppressing, to rise up?
It will take long because they don't have a common language to reach out to each other, to organize and say to organization. I said it before. People have to be organized. But dictatorship's aim is to disorganize the society. And that's why they managed to disorganize this society to an extent that it would take really a political genius who would come up with a proper formula to tell you that this is the solution to Gambia's problem. Now, otherwise, the events that we are witnessing now in this past week, these are reasons enough for the whole nation to rise up and kick this man out one day. But how do you do that? You need to be able to communicate with the people who need to be able to rise up. And so these people cannot write SMS to each other. They cannot, maybe even if they can, they don't have access to this kind of telephones. They don't have access to the internet. And even if they do, there is no electricity. You see, we are living in a very dangerous country under this man. I am afraid, and I'm really afraid that what we are scared of, what we were running away from all these years, is what is coming. And this is a big storm, really, that we cannot avoid. Violence is coming into that country. Those people who cannot communicate, but they also have feelings. They are feeling that their lives are not the same anymore. And this is when they will react. If you see the videos yesterday, or day before, I think yesterday, at the courts, there was a paramilitary trooper who was insulting people's mother, and you could hear people insulting him back. I could not imagine that in 1997, the last time I went to the Gambia.
For that to happen. Now, so Brother Nyancho, do you think we're almost there now, given of what we've seen in the last week or so, following up to yesterday? Do you think we're close, or how do you see this whole thing ending right now? Is this the end game, or is this just the beginning?
This is the beginning of the end of this regime. I would call on all those people who have voices, who have influence on the Gambian people, to try to inform them to organize themselves to mitigate the circumstances or the situation. Otherwise, I am seeing more blood. But if we organize ourselves and put more pressure on this person and his regime, and collaborate and work together, coordinate our activities with our neighbor through diplomatic means and through the social network that we are having with Senegalese, I think that we can see the end of this regime as very soon as it is very possible.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Brother Nyancho. Obviously, in-depth discussion there about the implication of this whole border issue, and obviously, how this regime is able to just take control of over 1.5 million people and just oppress us for this long. Now, you said that you're a militant of the UDP. Your leader,
right,
a senior citizen, very respectable individual, is currently in custody, illegally being held. Obviously, we understand that he's not making any efforts in getting out of there until the rest of his, group is also granted the same opportunity to walk out of detention. What is the state of the UDP militant, given that their leader is currently being held illegally, and possibly a young leader is dead, and we don't know the fate of Fatoumata Jawara and some of the other people that were trying to find information.
Right. On the side of the UDP militancy, I would tell you that our leader made it very clear, and he set a clear example to all of us in the diaspora and inside the country. And that is defiance, you see. We will be defiant. We will remain defiant. And we are going to fight. This is evident. And it's going to continue, Mr. Krubally. You see, the leader of the UDP said it, that we don't abandon our children. The children of the UDP will therefore not abandon the fathers of the UDP. If you understand, it is the children of UDP, another Gambian people, children, who went to demonstrate, and they demonstrate constitutionally. They did not destroy any property, being personal properties or being national properties. They did not insult, abuse any Gambian, being in authority or being outside of the authority. They embark on what is constitutionally mandated to each and every citizen of that country to act upon, show your anger, show your dissatisfaction about laws that you think are there to bundle you down and make you incapacitated. And so they went into prison because of that, and we understood that some people were killed, or at least have been killed inside. And this is what prompted the leadership, including the executives of the UDP, including the chairman of the party, saying what? We will go out and demand for Solo's body or him alive. All right? And this is what they did. And they went and demanded this. They were also impounded and bundled up and thrown into pickup trucks disrespectfully, violently, abusively, taking our leaders into prison. And let nobody fool anyone. The UDP will not sit by and abandon Usainu Dabo in that jailhouse plus our executives. Keme Senjame is there. Keme Senjame spent all his entire life trying to do good for that country. So why is he sitting in that place? And then he's sitting there illegally. We will fight to make sure that these people will go outside. If Yahya Jammeh made that mistake and sentence our leaders and say, I incarcerate your leaders, we will come with weapons to break those walls and take our leaders out. Now, he will have to go to the so-called democratic legal means to implicate or to free our people. He has that choice to make. We don't have that choice. The choice is with him. He is having them. The legal process is going on. Now let the legal process be exhausted and see what will happen right after that. He has a hot potato in his mouth. Whether to swallow it or to throw it out is a choice he has to make. The militancy of the UDP will fight this injustice through legal constitutional means, and if all failed, we will pick up arms and attack this man and kill him.
Thank you.
We will not abandon our leadership. We will not abandon our leadership because our leadership did not abandon the children of the UDP. So we will not abandon it. And let nobody fool you. Anybody who is contemplating on going to elections with this regime as our leaders are incarcerated in that place, you are playing with fire. We will make sure you don't conduct an illegal election in that country to entrench a dictator in that country. Whoever attempts that, we will categorize that person as an accomplice to the dictator and therefore an enemy to the UDP and the establishment of the militancy of the UDP party. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Nyancho. Very well said. However, I am going to go ahead and challenge you here for a little bit.
Right.
A while ago, you mentioned that this needs a coordination. We need to coordinate to be able to beat this dictatorship. Right now, just in the last few days, I've seen you on social media, and obviously just your answer here, you keep saying this is a UDP thing, it's a UDP thing, and it seems like you're not very happy with the reaction of the other political leaders.
Right.
Do you think that's a smart position to hold right now, or is this the time to try and really motivate those opposition leaders that have maybe potentially made a mistake of not coming out to support Lawyer Dabo, but at least they're starting to show their faces in the courts? Is this the time to motivate them, to tell them, listen, maybe you've made a mistake, wrong calculation, but this is the time that the nation needs you, or rather than calling them names and try to alienate them from the fight? Because most people are wanting this to be a Gambian fight, not a particular political leader fight.
That's true. That's very true. But you see, Mr. Krubally, I don't know how I need to explain this to Gambian people. I am not speaking in the name of the UDP. I have no portfolio to speak in the name of the UDP. All right? The UDP is doing their politics with people who believe that this is time for them to talk to these other politicians. And I am a militant of the UDP, and I don't want to talk to these people. I will not talk to them. I lost my respect for them. But the UDP as a party can go and talk to Khalifa. They can go and talk to whoever they want, and I know they are doing that. But I am not part of that. All right? I am not part of the diplomatic mission of the UDP. The UDP didn't mandated me to speak on their behalf. The UDP can call me now and tell me that whatever you say is nonsense. They have that right. But look, I have the right to my opinion. My opinion is simple and it is very crystal clear. What I am saying is this. When you are abandoned, as a soldier, when you have my back, I must have your back too. These people made it clear through their bravado, endless bravado and endless speeches and endless indoctrination that they embark on, that they made everybody to think that the UDP is power hungry. They made it clear. OJ stood up here and he opened his mouth and said it. I don't have respect for the people. I'm telling you this. He said that the UDP is power hungry, that he is not going to run for, what is it called, office, because he's old. Therefore, young people must go and become the leader of the UDP. Has their leader, that is Ousainou Darboe. If OJ decided not to run for his party leadership, that is his business and that is democratic. But who is he to tell the UDP that your leader must leave because he's old as I am and therefore he's not qualified? OJ made it very clear that if it is about electoral reforms, 14 points, he supported only 13, and age limit is not his business. He made it clear. Halifa Saleh promised the Gambian people that he is going to be the one-term president, already preparing himself, knocking Ousainou Darboe and the UDP out. I don't care, Mr. Krubally, who wants to make this a Gambian thing, unified thing. Whatever they want, let them do that. Those politicians, let them do that. I am a revolutionary. I don't compromise my position with people who I consider as traitors. They are the reason why Jami sits in that place for so long. Otherwise, sense and sensibility dictates that if you have to form a coalition, the party with the biggest number of people must lead that coalition. We argue this, they refuse it. We argue it, they refuse it. These are the same people who sat down with the UDP, signed the G6 electoral reforms demand, together with these same people. Now, if our people, the UDP youths, our militants, as I am a militant, my friends lost their life in this place. On what? Reforms that we all demanded. It took 1 week, nothing from these people but another funny thing called Memorandum of Understanding. And then I am supposed to be calling for Gambian unity. They said that if the UDP started things, they will withdraw. I had Alhaji Fai on freedom. While swing started for na can do len dimbale na hay te ya jame mu ngi amé ay fetel dina ñew nak live so dañ wara bokka dañ wara def li buga bokka nga baña bokka ko xamne mo la opal dole yow da nga nek na fi xana. All right, I don't speak Wolof well, but I hope they understand what I'm saying. I lost my respect for people who are traitors. If you sign your name, you put your name to something that you are going to stand up to that thing. And then now that is 14 points, and then you supported only 13 points. Why did you sign your name to it and say that take the demands to 13 points for I will not sign for 14? The hypocrisy started there. And nobody wants to talk about it, and they are trying to paint another layer over to smoothen things when it is so rough. I am not going to be nice to these people, and whoever wants to defend them, you want to debate me, democracy allows, take me to anywhere you want. I will debate with that person. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Nyancho. Very well understood your position, obviously, as a revolutionary, and it's very important to note that you said you were not speaking as a UDP official, but as a militant and obviously, as a freedom fighter for that nation. Now, given your response here, and Brother Nyancho, what is the way forward? How do we compromise? Because obviously the whole revolutionary idea is great, but how do we move forward as a... Go ahead.
Yeah, the way forward...
How do we move forward as a nation?
The nation is moving. The nation is moving. Those who are not moving are those people who are reluctant or scared or being complacent to the status quo. What I'm saying is, look, Ousainou, the team appeared in that court on 2 occasions, right? Look at the number of people who came the first court, and then see how many came the second court. And tomorrow, I promise you, see tomorrow what will happen, okay? This is all I can tell you. The militants of the UDP will mobilize the militants of the UDP, because look, the executives are in there because I lost friends in this. Okay? This is to me a personal crusade. So I'm not interested in what Doi is talking about, PPP, whatever they call themselves. It's their business. This is a national issue. The way forward is UDP led the foundation because they call it a UDP matter. That's why for 1 week they are keeping quiet. All right? Now, if they call it that way, I am rephrasing it again, and I am putting it to them that we will mobilize our people, and we will make sure that so long as our leaders and our militants are not accounted for, this country is going to go on. This strike is going to go on. Whoever wants to join, come and join. You don't want to join, go sleep. This is not time to beg anybody to save this country. It is time for every Gambian to take responsibility and understand that the opportunity availed to us now, it is to take to the streets together in mass and demand what is ours. And that is our freedom, liberty, and our independence.
Thank you, Brother Nyancho. Obviously, it has been a great conversation. It's almost to the hour right now. Very, very, very passionate about what you're saying, and I can sense the passion right now. And this is something that I think we also have a responsibility to pass on to the younger generation, because if we have so many people that believe in what you believe in, obviously, I don't, agree with so much about, some of the directions that you're taking, but I like the passion and the fact that you want to get this done. I want you to take a moment to just speak to that young man, that young woman. Explain to them the importance of becoming a revolutionary, not in the sense of picking up a gun, but to have an idea, an ideology that you stand for, to believe in a nation where freedom is the rule of the day, where democracy is the rule of the day. Explain to them the importance of believing and acting and having a passion for the love of country like you do, just so that the young people can understand the importance of being a revolutionary.
I would tell the young people to look up to the elders. There are examples everywhere. There are examples that are there to tell you that the truth cannot be mixed with the falsehood. I will tell young people to please, wherever you are, if the opportunity is there, go to school and learn. For this country is your country. This country will be ruled by you. And therefore, you have to imagine, in your imagination, what kind of a Gambia do you want for yourself and for your children in the future. I live in Scandinavia. My daughter is born here, all right? I can always live here. I went to school here. I am a teacher here. I say to my young Gambian people that everything we put our mind to is possible. If you believe that the Gambia is worth it, and it is, please get up and stand by the side of those people who put their lives for the freedom of that country today for us to see a better Gambia tomorrow. That tomorrow is your Gambia, the young people's Gambia. Now, I also tell the young people that you do not just accept and follow people and principles and laws and religions and ways of life without you yourself, first and foremost, understanding what you are following. For God Almighty said that we have to know Him before we worship Him. So if you really want to know God, you have to worship God. You have to know God. Now, if you want to save the Gambia, you have to know the Gambia. And the Gambia is the Gambian people. Those people who are born and living in that country are the These are the people who constitute the Gambia. We must know our origin. We must know the regions in that country. The young people cannot come to Europe and abandon that country. That country must stay on the world map for the rest of this universe. And this is the aim. This is the goal. The life that I am enjoying here, the transportation network available to me here, the free education that Scandinavia provided to me. I want Gambia to be growing and going towards that direction that will be self-sustainable, to be able to provide for the citizens of that country quality healthcare, quality education, quality communication, infrastructure, and quality social life. This is my advice to the young people.
Thank you so much, Brother Nyancho, and you've done a very good job, obviously, talking to the youth out there. I know you're not too crazy about the opposition, especially the PDOIS, the PVP, and some of the other leaders. You're more of a UDP militant. But for a minute, I just want you to just take a step back and get into the negotiating mood and just talk to the opposition leaders that are currently out.
I will not talk to them, please. I want to talk to their militants. I will send a letter to them if necessary. But those leaders, they are not my leaders. They don't. Hussein Udabo, UDP is where I belong. And I am in trouble already. I lost my friends. People I discussed with. People I organized our political militancy with. I lost friends in this. So I don't have time for people who saw my friends being killed and they stay away from it because they were in some funeral. I don't want to sit with some people who are in fact part of the government and who kill my friends. I cannot talk to them. Me, I'm a very small person in this struggle. I have nothing, no influence on anywhere, just talking as a militant of the UDP. And I will support the UDP, for I belong to the UDP. Let their militants tell them whatever it is to tell them. You see, I was part of that group whereby they added Minde, Jobate, and the others. Before they kicked me out, I kicked myself out. I don't want to come there. You people can do these things. Me, I am a revolutionary and I belong to a party. The party is incarcerated. The people want to crucify the leadership of my party. They want to silence and eliminate the UDP. And I am going to fight to make sure that is not happening. So whoever is trying, whatever way they are doing with the government or whoever they are doing it with, that is not my concern. As long as I know that that country is the only place I have on this earth, whoever runs that country, you will hear me, you will see me. So long as you started to mess around with the life of the Gambian people, you will see me critical of your injustices. Yeah, this is how I feel.
Thank you so much. I mean, it is how you feel, and that is the importance of having this type of discussions, because as a nation, we have to hear each other's position, and every once in a while, social media doesn't do us justice, this radio don't do us justice because the time is not there. That is the essence of this conversation, to bring people in, to really express their feeling, to really talk in length of their positions, because sometimes we tend to really not understand where people stand. The lines are blurry. I think with you, obviously, you've drawn the line wherever it is, whether we agree with it or not. It is Nyancho's take. Thank you so much for really feeling comfortable to come out here and discuss, obviously, your position with us. That is, again, what we're trying to capture here. And, we all hope that what is happening back home is an indication of what the future holds, that the Gambian people will be able to come out, stand in front of the military and speak their mind without being tortured or without being, shot. And I really hope that the leadership that is out there right now, free and going about, will lead the masses to ensure that we secure the freedom of Hussein Udabo and his executive team and all the illegally held people. Brother Nyancho, thank you so much for coming.
I hope so.
If you have any closing remarks, you can go ahead. You were saying?
I am just saying that thank you very much for having me. As I said before, I'm not a spokesperson for UDP. I have no portfolio in the UDP. All I'm saying is simply that this is Keba's position, and this is the way I know how to express it. To other people, to our countrymen who are facing the dictatorship on the ground, my hope is that they would be steadfast in their stand, and they would be defending each other in case of any whatever comes. So my advice again is that the Gambia is our country. We are with you on the ground. Morally, we are supporting the cause. And we pray for those who are lost. For Solo Sandeng is not the last. And then I am with fear that he wouldn't be the last. They were serious. This government continued to kill. So we believe that it is time to put an end to this, and then that includes each and every Gambian who believes that this system is wrong. So together we can make a difference. But it will be a continuous fight, and it's going to be bloody, and it is going to be tragic. But we have no choice. This fight will continue. The defiance will continue.
Thank you so much, Brother Nyancho, once again for coming in. Just hang on for a quick second. Like I said, again, this was the conversation. Momodou Krubally speaking with Brother Nyancho of Sweden. Brother Nyancho, one final thing. I understand that right before this session with you, you all were in a meeting with the Swedish plans to demonstrate in Sweden there. I know that by the time people listen to this conversation, the protest would have passed since it is scheduled for tomorrow. Can you just let us know the whole feeling in the Gambian Swedish community, how the mood is there, what the people really think of what's happening back home, and what are you trying to gain out of these demonstrations that you're planning right now?
We would like to make sure that this demonstration is far different from other demonstrations in this country. And what I mean by that is that this time we wish to have a larger crowd, a crowd that will be of angry Gambians showing their frustration and their depression really about the events taking place in our country. Personally, I reach out to many people that I know, from my political friends to my personal friends, to my workmates and other people. Whether they will come or not, I cannot guarantee that. But as always, what I do is to reach out to each and everybody that I have access to and invite them to be part of this very humanitarian activity. And so I also met very dynamic sisters there. Jaina Baba, a very dynamic lady, very political, very experienced, and very influential in our community here in Sweden. I also met Ajifatu Njai and Demba Gainde, our young man, the leader, the really honest man that I have a lot of respect for, was there. Our Gambian elders were there. We have an association here called AGES, Association of Gambian Elders in Sweden. Mr. Gasamon and others will be busy. And then I am encouraged. I am very pleased that all these gentlemen and very inspiring ladies were in this meeting. So we are ready. We are ready. Join us tomorrow and shake the Swedish capital city, Stockholm, and hopefully we also have a petition, that long petition that we hope to deliver to the Foreign Office, so that we could be privately telling them also what is taking place in the Gambia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Nyancho. It is always a pleasure speaking with you, because I obviously, each time you come on these mediums, you're not scared to really express yourself. You believe in your position so much as we don't agree with it. It is something you truly believe in, and that is the essence of being a citizen, and that is what we're all fighting for. A nation where we can all come together, no matter what your ideology is, no matter what your position is, as long as it does not physically harm an individual or disrupt the order of the nation, you should be able to express yourself openly Thank you so much again for coming to the conversation. Hang on for a quick second, and I will be right with you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sanneh, Brother Nyancho of Sweden, talking to us his position on national issues. This is the conversation. Momodou Krubally again, and have a good night, and greetings from Los Angeles.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mr. Nyancho.
Yes, Mr. Krubally.
Inimbara Bake, Inimbara.